Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we are going to start Unit 1, Significance of Western Political Thought. Let us first have introduction about the unit. Political thought begins when there is an awareness of the possibility of attaining alternative political arrangements from the present one. Ever since organized life began with the invention of agriculture, slowly different forms of political organizations began. Predominantly, this form was monarchy, but the ancient Green civilization was marked by a remarkably variety of political forms, reflecting by Aristotle's study of 158 constitutions and elaboration of different typologies of political system. It is for the prevalence of wide diversity and debate that political Western political thought begins with the Greeks and continues till present. Political thought means the five following things: exposition of ideas, values, and purposes for influencing policy, changing it and revising it drastically for total break and a new beginning. The entire classical tradition of Western political thought provides a wide variety dealing with the above propositions. Political theory deals with political structure and institutions, like dealing with the theories of the state, division of power, legal frameworks, various forms of representation, and links with other social sciences. Political philosophy in the normative quest for what should be rather than what is in a large macro framework. Political thought is a key component of the discipline of political science, providing it the basic concept and tools with which the other subareas of discipline are intrinsically linked. Comparative study of different kinds of political theories originating and expanding with different civilizations like Western political thought, Indian or Chinese political thought. Now let us discuss what is political thought. Political thought is the description of the political ideas of a host of political philosophers from beginning to the end. It is the sum total of ideas on matters related to politics, state, and government as expressed by the thinkers. It is historical in nature because it is described as history. It analyzes, examines, and evaluates issues that have a universal concern and are of perennial nature interest, even though each political theorist responds to a particular political reality. It is written keeping the large public in mind and is not confined to ivory towers, for an intimate link is established between the political process, institutions, events, and actors. Usually, political theory flourishes in times of crisis, which act as stimulus, though it is not necessary that all crises lead to political theorizing. Political thought is the description, analysis, expression, and evaluation of the philosophies of the philosophers of a particular political tradition. It is a tradition insofar as it comes to us as a body of thought. It is the sum total of what stays on and an accumulation of what is changed and what continues. It is what keeps responding to our circumstances. What becomes outdated is not the part of the tradition. Political thought attempts to identify values and norms and makes them an inseparable part of a particular political trend. Western political thought, if we wish to identify its magic themes, evolves and revolves around values such as liberty and libertarian, democracy and democratic tradition, equality and egalitarian. Political thought as it has existed and or exists in India, for example, seeks to establish ethical or moral values in politics, spiritualism, cooperative living, and the like. Political thought is primarily the study of the state. It studies society insofar as society influences the state as political life and social life, though independent is interdependent. Similarly, it focuses on economic institutions and process insofar it influences the political order and process. It also takes into consideration ethical questions, for ultimately it is concerned with a link and good political order. Now we are going to discuss distinction between political thought, political theory, and political philosophy. Political thought and political philosophy have been used interchangeably. When we talk of the history of political thought, we refer to the classical tradition that began with Plato and ended with Mars. Though both Germino and the Medneo considered Hegel's political philosophy as the ending of the classical tradition. For both see Marx as an reinterpreting Hegel. The works of the great philosophers depict not only the problems faced in their respective times, but also reflect their examination, inquiry, and experience. Political philosophy may thus be said to be the political thought of a particular philosopher of a particular age. But political philosophy is larger than the political thought of a particular philosopher. It is the political thought of an age or of a community. Political thought is also intimately linked with the political philosophy. It amplifies and clearly states political ideas, put them in a time frame. So, political philosophy does include political thought, even though all political thought is not political philosophy. The difference between political philosophy and thought is not about the mood or method, but about the subject matter. Philosophy, according to Volin, attempts to understand the truths publicly arrived and publicly demonstrable, while a political thinker tries to explain the meaning of the political and its link with the public sphere. Political thought is a historical narrative, descriptive, or a larger extent. Though political thought is historical in its approach, it is also at the same time observational, empirical, operational, comparative, and scientific. Political theory deals with concepts and ideas of a particular thinker. Its mode of inquiry is comparative and explanatory. Now let us discuss relationship between political thought and political science. Political thought is the assemblage of the philosophies of the numerous political philosophers, wherein each political philosopher theories on political issues confronting his times. Each political philosopher discusses the political ideas of his time and the age he lives in. It is in this sense that the assertion is made that each philosopher is the child of his own age. It is through his own circumstances that each philosopher gets impetus as well as inspirations. He also, in this sense, represents his age. His philosophy or thought responds to the times he represents. His thought is his views on the numerous political concepts. Political thought becomes political thought by moving through political philosophy. Political thought is history oriented. It is the political history of a particular time. It is history vertically and history horizontally. Vertically, in the sense that a political philosopher theorizes on concepts historically drawn. Plato discusses the concept of justice after having discussed the numerous notions of justice prevailing then. The father son traditional view of justice, the radical view of justice, and two brothers' pragmatic view of justice as against the historically horizontal view of justice. Political thought discusses the concept of justice vertically when it examines the term justice as it evolves in the writing of the subsequent political philosophers. History is related to political science only casually, and to the extent it helps understand political phenomena. So, understood, there is much that separates the two terms, political science and political thought. History is a characteristic feature of political thought, science that of political science. The nature of political thought is philosophical, while that of political science is empirical. Political thought is a value laden exercise. Political science is value free. Political thought understands the present through the help of past and thereafter builds future on present. Political science deals mainly with the present and with the future only marginally. These distinctions apart, there is much that both need from each other. Political science depends on political thought in more than one way. Political thought places date at the disposal of political science for the latter's scrutiny. A political philosopher's philosophy is examined by a political scientist through scientific tools. The political ideas of political philosophers are examined in a way that he is described as an idealist or a scientist. There is a valid point when Plato is said to be the father of political philosophy and Aristotle as the father of political science. Political idealism owes its inspiration to Plato, political realism to Aristotle. Political thinkers do not ignore scientific methodology while putting forth their political philosophy. Aristotle is said to have adopted the comparative method of analyzing and classifying states of his time. He is said to have read the and examined 158 constitutions of his age. Hobbes and before him Machiavelli too had followed the scientific method in expressing their idea. If science means a study derived from intensive reading, experimentation, observations leading to testable and consistent conclusions, Marx, to take another example, is said to have given a scientific theory of socialism. However, though all of them had reached certain finality in the political theorizing, the subsequent developments negated much of this claim. As such, political theory is always a mixture of fact and value, incorporating the subjective considerations of the thinkers and prevailing climate of his age. The next point is framework of political thought. Political thought is about politics or what is relevant to politics. It is an account given by numerous political philosophers relating to political institutions, political events, and political activities, their evolution, and their growth. The content with which principal political thought relates itself is politics. Politics, therefore, constitutes the very soul of political thought. What has Plato discussed in his Republic? The Republic is about justice in the state and in the individual, and thereby leading to the construction of an ideal state. Aristotle's politics is about the possible, the desirable, and the best prescribed state. Locke, in his two treatises of government, stated to have given the chief end of people uniting into commonwealth, and that chief end of the state is the protection of the property of the people and about limiting the powers of the state. Marx, in his numerous writings, sought to foresee a classless and a stateless society from where, according to him, would begin the real freedom of man. It is therefore clear that the political thought is the study of politics as expressed in the works of the political philosophers. Politics implies political activities. It is an activity which helps a citizen participate in the composition and functioning of the government. It is an activity which helps the political parties seek and then rule the people. It is an activity through which political power is sought, maintained, and retained. It is an activity of manipulation and bargaining, of seeking and exercising power. It is therefore rightly said to be an art of possible. It is about power as Laswell observed, who gets what, when, and how. Politics as an activity that helps to secure political power, exercise it, and retain it is the central point of all political thought. Political thought is thought about politics. When we take politics from its particularity to generality, we enter into the realm of political thought. When we take politics from its transitory and day to day from into its long term and durable form, we tend to prepare the grounds of the political thought. Political thought responds in a general way to the questions relating to the politics, the state, political activities, state's policies, and its functions. For various political philosophers over the year have done so. It seeks to find the permanent or near permanent solutions to the problems that confront politics. Political thought discusses not only the state but also its highest form. It, through the philosophies of the political thinkers, not only examines the various theories of the origin of the state, it seeks to develop a consistent theory regarding the origin of the state that appeals to our reasoning. The day-to-day issues relating to the nature of the state, forms of government, functions of the state, nature of the political power become the issue discussed by the political philosophers. Machiavelli's reference of casual questions retaining to the rulers' security became the characteristic question of statecraft. Marx's attempt to analyze capitalism is a question of politics, but in the process of analysis, if Marx builds a scientist, socialist, communist society about capitalism, it becomes a part of political thought. Political, th- Political thought obtains date from politics. Politics introduces political activities for discussion by thinkers. Political thought, on the other hand, gives a direction to the activities concerning politics. Politics during the Stuart period in England, for example, becomes the basis on which Hobbes and Locke built up their philosophies. Hobbes trying to prefer authority to freedom, and Locke doing just the reverse, that is, giving freedom a predominant place to authority. Marx, while analyzing and studying capitalism and in the process seeking to obtain more truth, and thereafter keeping in the remedial and early history, was not only trying to know the functioning of the activities of capitalism, but was also building a new vision of political thought, creating history in what is known as the masteristic interpretation of history. Political philosophers are born in a particular political atmosphere. They study the atmosphere in and him build a new political environment, a new philosophy. Politics assumes political activities, political thought studies them, seeks to know the objectives of those activities and gives them a shape, a vision, and in the process build new concepts. Politics gives to the account of political activities, political thought gives of political education. Politics is knowledgeable about the political conduct, political thought, that of the theories of the political conduct. Politics therefore identifies the way towards which political thought moves. Politics paves way for political thought, and political thought guides the future direction of politics. Marx's political theory inspired the Russians to launch the socialist evolution, and Soviet Union sought to guide the socialist movement in the underdeveloped world. The ever continued direction of politics makes the basis for political thought. If politics provide political thought provides politics a vision to look to. Here we want to wind up today's lecture. Thank you so much for your attention.